Today I wanted to give a few terms of definition and then talk about a wonderful, wonderful short that I ran into. First of all, in Buddhism, we have no God. Buddha was a great teacher about peace, practice. Buddha was a person of royal lineage who sought freedom from all the suffering. Bodhisattvas are individuals who practice diligently and are destined to awaken. And the word Buddha just means to awaken or awaken one. Then Mahasattvas, these are terms that we use. Mahasattvas are the great, widely known bodhisattvas. So Avalokiteshvara or Kuan Yin uh, is a Mahasattva because everyone knows it. Donald, please mute your mic. And today I wanted to talk about a YouTube video that Reverend Scott, who's in Japan right now, posted. And I can't link it and put a link in there, but would someone type this in, please? It's https://www.youtube.com/shorts, SHORTS, and then it's capital CIXV, small EK, capital RGQVM. And for those of you who are in our chat on WhatsApp, that is Reverend Scott posted that, and it's called Metta Cognition. And they've done studies, and if you didn't get all of the letters, you can look that up on YouTube Shorts. Metacognition. They did clinical studies to see what happens when we don't go along with our thoughts, but we just look at them. And that is the practice of the observer within Buddhism. So let's say Thay really does something that makes me very angry. I can either think in my head, oh, that doggone Thay, he's from Texas, they're not very bright, he's probably this and he's probably that, and he did this and he did that, and I can just go off. Or I can step back from that emotional train and those thoughts and go, oh, Thay just did this. Oh, what am I feeling? What am I feeling? What is my response? Where is my emotional status from? Where are my thoughts from? And that's metacognition, being able to look at what's happening rather than just going for the ride. Everyone in this room has mental formations. Everyone in this room will look at, let's say, a homeless person and go, oh, they're probably on drugs, or they're this, or they're that, or they're probably unclean, and they probably smell, and they're probably not a worthwhile person, or whatever it is that we come up with. And the reality is those are just our mental formations. And in this clip, this YouTube video on metacognition, it talks about stepping back from that and being able to look at what's going on with our thoughts and our feelings. In our meditation in the morning, we'll flash a screen that while we do our meditation that says, let our thoughts be like clouds going through the trees. The clouds pass through and the tree remains a tree. And that is metacognition. Well, it turns out some science folks decided to study, hey, what's going on? What happens in the brain when we do metacognition? And apparently what happens is that we develop a part of our brain that gives us a great deal of extra intelligence. So just in my own case, imagine how dumb I am now, but how much brighter I am now than before I started meditating. So for some of us, the results are not obvious, but it actually says that in terms of mental abilities and cognition, that folks who are able to separate thoughts and look at them, folks who are able to look at emotions and look at them, develop this great place inside. And other studies show that people that are able to do this are actually happier with their life and report a greater sense of well-being and position. So this is the first study that I've seen of metacognition actually making physical changes in the brain. And I'm going to pursue that and study. But the Buddha came up with this about 2,500 years ago. In our Vipassana friends, they look at primarily, it's what's happening in the body. So when Darcy goes and sits in a full lotus for 4 hours, she goes, oh, my legs are numb, my back hurts, my nose itches, and my ear is making ringing sounds. That would be a Vipassana thing, to be aware of body. Within our tradition, we look primarily at breath, breathing in, awareness of breath, breathing out, awareness of breath. And so this metacognition is supported by our meditation practice. And as we breathe in and breathe out, the cardinal things that we can do to enhance that. One is, if everybody would put your hand on your belly, sit up straight, feet on the floor, take a breath in, and as you breathe in, stick your belly out. Relax, and let your belly come naturally back in. And that is belly breathing. When we breathe from our shoulders to our chest, the deep breath we take as we rise our shoulders, that stimulates our sympathetic nerve system. That's fight or flight. Let's get things done. Oh, Kate's being dangerous. Be prepared to hit her back if she does something. There we go. That is what our upper respiratory system does. So when Patricia's out going to her party, she goes out and goes to raves and snorts cocaine and all sorts of other things in the middle of the night. When she's out doing that and she runs into a group of thugs, she starts breathing with her shoulders so she can take them on and show them just what Taekwondo will do for them. Yeah, you got it, Patricia. But for the rest of us, when we're peaceful, kind, loving, we want to calm down, we want to get into this state of observation and supreme meditation, breathing from our chest to our stomach, that stimulates our parasympathetic nervous system. And clinical studies say that if we get upset or emotional or something, we can change that and mellow it out by simply starting belly breath. So breathing from our belly, deep breath in, expand your belly, relax, deep breath out, letting it go, your belly will naturally contract. The belly breath, once again, stimulates our parasympathetic nervous system. And that is the gift of Buddhist meditation. So within our practice of Mahayana in the Tien tradition, that belly breath allows us to calm ourselves down, stimulate our parasympathetic nervous system, and is also the first step in being able to sit back from our thoughts and our feelings and just look at what's going on in our head. The Buddha, in a sutra, within the first group of sutras that he taught, says, hey, we all make stuff up. You may not know this, but Darcy, who looks so very innocent, makes up whoppers in her head all the time. Oh, these people do this, and these people do this, and these people do this, and all this other stuff. But in reality, that's just made up stuff. Racial prejudice, made up stuff. Religious prejudice, made up stuff. Now, we may have some reasons that we look at that. A friend of mine was in Portland and was walking down a backside of Portland and encountered 3 tall men who were African American ancestry, and stopped for a second and said, oh, am I at risk? That's an observation, not a prejudice. Decided that didn't appear to be at risk, went on, said, good, hi gentlemen, how are you guys doing? They said, okay, we're a little lost, we're looking for B Street or whatever, and he was able to direct them all and was aware that he made an assessment, not a judgment, an assessment. But if he had judged, oh, there are African Americans there, they probably have guns or on drugs, they're going to kill me, jump me, that would have been a mental formation. So assessments are wholesome. Mental formations are the stuff we make up inside our head. And poor Darcy is just like the rest of us. We all do that again and again and again. But when we can take a step back and look at those formations, all of a sudden, our life can become clearer, brighter, and as a friend tells me, more gooder. So what I want to do is I want everybody to practice the deep belly breath. Put your hands on your stomach one more time. Take a breath in, expand your belly, hold it for just a second, then let your breath out and let your belly naturally contract. And that is the breath for all of our meditation practice. Our Vipassana brothers and sisters focus heavily on what happens in your body. When I was a young monk in Japan, my legs would fall asleep. I was sitting in a full lotus, and after a period of time, I couldn't move my legs, and I'd have to crawl off the straw mats, the tatami mats, to get out of the temple. And at that time, Vipassana practice was, oh, Kozen, you're paralyzed from the waist down. Watch out for this. But my mental formations could have been, oh, this is bad, this is not healthy, this hurts. I feel like an idiot. Everybody else stands up and walks out and you have to crawl out. The mental formations are our judgments, our belief in right and wrong, good and bad. Allowing this metacognition says it's neither good nor bad, right or wrong. It is just that which is. And that is our practice, my dear ones, to take a look again and again and again from these great teachings of Shakyamuni Buddha, our historical teacher over 2,500 years ago. Neither liking nor disliking, neither judging good or judging bad. And that is our practice again and again. It's lovely to see science, though, starting to say, hey, this stuff really helps. It helps our brain develop. And for those of you who have health issues and have problems, I recently had carpal tunnel surgery on my hand. My hand would go numb at night. I'd wake up about every hour in pain and numbness, and it was pretty terrible. And I had a choice to go, oh, my life is, oh, this is miserable. Oh, I can't sleep. Life is terrible. Why me? What's going on? Oh, this is so terrible. And that is one mental formation, that life is terrible. The other process I could do is just to observe my hand and go, oh, I'm in discomfort. There's something going on. I should have someone look at that and see what I can do to make this better. So one is an assessment, and one is a mental formation. And for all of our illness, for all of our health-related needs, for all of those people who are upset because of politics, or other religions, or other races, or other ethnicities, for all of us who come up with opinions about how those work, take a look in your heart. Am I making a judgment? Am I doing a mental formation? Or is this just what is? And that is the gift of our practice, that is the gift of our teaching. One more quick note about education. Meditation started with Shakyamuni Buddha, Shakyamuni, sage of the Shakya clan. His name was Siddhartha Gautama, and he took the title of the Buddha when he had his awakening. He started this practice called jhana, which means serene reflection meditation. That jhana went to Thailand and there helped found the Theravada practice that the Buddha started in India. When it went to China, the Chinese looked at these orange-robed monks asking for food, and the Chinese said, you're a young, healthy person. Go grow your own bloody food. Why am I going to feed you? And with the development of that, Mahayana blossomed, and the Mahayana practice is the world's largest practice of Buddhist Buddhism in the world today. And those are monks and nuns and people who can grow their own gardens, who can be self-supporting, who don't have to make the rounds for food daily that the Theravada monks are required to make. And they have different rules to live by. Still a great practice of Mahayana Buddhists. And within Mahayana, we're the group that has bodhisattvas, Kuan Yin, Avalokiteshvara. And that's all part of this great jhana practice that the Buddhists started. In China, it was developed into Chan. From China to Japan, it became called Zen. From China to Vietnam, it became known as Tien. From China to Korea, it became known as Sun. So I had someone the other day say, well, I'm glad I'm Tien and not Zen because Tien is better. And I'm going, it's all the same practice. We have people that came and said, oh, Buddhists are better than Christians. So we have a Saint Mary and 2 Saint Francis in our Buddha garden to say, get over it. We have a Methodist minister who's going to be interred here in our memorial garden because that was his choice. Please, everyone, look at your mental formations. And if you get it done perfect, please come and do my teacher. Also, the response to suffering. Many of the folks who are in our Sangha have had issues with alcohol or drugs. And with alcohol and drugs, one of the big mental formations is life is too painful to go on. Life is great suffering. And the Buddha taught that we suffer. And then the second arrow with our folks who are addicted is that this will help me not feel. And so alcohol or substances can get us to a place of not feeling quite so much, but it's a very temporary relief. So the mental formations for folks with alcohol and drug issues are, oh, I'm really hurting. There's possible ways to quit hurting. I shall explore that which works for me best. And that pain is not my enemy, it is just something I'm experiencing. And that's one of the gifts of Buddhist practice for dealing with addictive disorders. Our mental formations, as we encourage things which are unpleasant, sometimes ask us to accept a second arrow of a mental formation about how terrible life is. And I want to confess, I do have an addiction, and I've been dealing with it for the last maybe 15 years. It's cheesecake 4 times a year, regardless of what happens. And it's my most delicious favorite treat in the world. By the way, I made up this story about Patricia.